How's it going, guys? Welcome back to TheBlueShifting and welcome back to the House of Fata Morgana, Requiem for Innocence. We're getting really close to the end of this one. We've essentially finished the main plot line. So if you didn't catch that finale, you really should. It was last week. Go back and look at it. But if you're here, we're going to be going through the side stories. Now, I have no idea how long they are, but if they're super short, well, we could blast through them all today. If they're long, though, I kind of expect at least some of them to be. I could actually see this being 3 whole episodes. It just depends. I have no real idea what we're getting into, nor how long it's going to be. I'm probably going to end up stopping at a really bad spot because I have a history of that. But yeah, we'll deal with that as we deal with it. So hope you guys enjoy. Let's get the wrapping up this little side story, and yeah, moving on to other pastures afterwards. So let us begin. Accento della. It's probably going to be a French word I'm mispronouncing, as usual. I think we made pretty good friends, don't you? Those were his last words before disappearing into the darkness. Their time together was brief, and they knew nearly nothing of each other, so that could they in fact be called friends at all? Oh boy. It's Michel! We haven't seen Michel in a long time. Welcome back, Dieter. I've missed you. Hello there, Michel. What a pleasant welcome this is. You didn't have to come all the way out here just to meet me, though. I haven't seen you in so long, and waiting inside is so dreary. What a wonderful sister I've been blessed with. You'd best be careful, though. The sun is quite strong today. Mother would throw a fit if she knew you were out here in this weather. Don't worry. I heard from a servant you wouldn't be back around now, so I haven't been out terribly long. And I know you're not one to be tardy either, Dieter. I took all the necessary precautions. Well, curses. Now I'll have to be absolutely certain nothing delays my next return. Yes, indeed you will. Well, since you're here, would you like to ride back with me? On your horse? I would love to, but I came on horseback as well. She's tied to the tree over there. Unlike your brothers, your horse is smart enough to follow you back. All right, then I suppose I shall. How was your expedition, Dieter? More of the usual. Just patrols, really. No engagements to speak of. Quiet is never a bad thing. I'm not sure if I'd say never. Do you think something might happen? No. Nothing you need concern yourself with, at least. If you say so. Oh, yes, Mother. She said something important to tell you and to see her as soon as you arrived. Now that I do not like the sound of. I can hardly blame you. Mother has something important to tell you, are the last words anyone wants to hear. You've gotten feisty now, haven't you? Don't tell her I said that. I wouldn't dream of selling out my beautiful baby sister. In fact, I beg you not to say anything of the sort to her either. She could be a bit easy to sit off. If anyone, I think Georges needs the warning most. You're on fire today, Michel. And there she is. The world-renowned Castle Bollinger in our lovely home. I forgot that was the last name. I'm not a child anymore, Dieter. I know our estate is not nearly as large or impressive as a castle. You used to love what I called it that. I also used to not be 13. 13's still plenty of child. Now hold on tight. We're going to gallop the rest of the way. Ha! Wait! Slow down, Dieter! Try not to fall off. Good day, Sir Dieter. Thank you. Everyone looks well. Where is my father? Lord Antonin is out on a personal business. He should be returning tomorrow. Thanks. Guess I just missed him. Well then, I should see what Mother... What was that noise?
That would be Georges.
Oh, I didn't realize he was going to be home.
Shall we check in on him?
No, 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 no! This won't do it all! It needs to be more innovative, with fiery passion, solemn beauty matched with a squeeze of delicate eroticism that doesn't undermine the impact of the piece as a whole. Gah! It has to be like a good kick in the marbles! Has he finally lost his marbles? Holy heck! Well, look who it is! I didn't know you were back, Dee. And you know it's uncouth to barge in on someone without knocking.
He knocked several times and called out to you through the door. I must say, though, Georges, it's much more uncouth to take out your frustration on inanimate objects.
Oh, there you are too, Michel. I couldn't see your shadow. You in the shadow of the hulking barbarian. You really are a teeny tiny little gal, aren't you?
Mother will not be pleased when she sees the mess you've made of the room.
Oh, my dear, dear Michel. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. True art is only born of the fires of pandemonium.
Is that so?
You could say, you can at least pretend to care. So, would you care to explain this pandemonium? Oh, you want to know? You want to know all about the masterpiece buried within the wellspring of inspiration. You'll never be able to return your back once you know, but if you're really sure, I can give you all the juicy deets. Deets. Doesn't sound very, timely there. I don't care that much, no. Shall we see what Mother needs to talk about, Michel?
Yes, let's.
Hey, wait! Have you no heart, you Philistines? You're supposed to grab me by the shoulders and beg to hear what all the fuss is about. If it'll make you stop shouting, fine. Give me the short version. So much of brotherly love. So the royal family's planning construction on a new chateau in the city. I guess the king himself has to do all the paintings for it. Why, moi, of course. The great artist, Georges Bullinger. Georges Bullinger. Is that so? What's wrong with you two? This is huge. It's huger than huge. I would wager His Majesty did not, in fact, come within 1,000 meters of you. Life is no fun if you limit yourself only to the truth.
I somehow doubt you're in charge of the art at all, either.
And so, in other words, there's almost no truth to your claims. Hey, I was really commissioned to do a piece for the new chateau. And this disaster area is all you have to show for it? Yep. I don't know what to do. It's a chance for me to make it into the big leagues. I've got to paint something that'll go down in history as one of the great works of our time.
Perhaps it would be better if you didn't put so much pressure on yourself. You do much better work when you're relaxed.
You're brilliant, Michel. Let's go out onto town and let loose, just the three of us. This is exactly what I need right now. I barely had time to sit down since I got back.
Ahem. Sometimes I think there might be no hope for the three of you. Not even a word to your dear mother.
Good day, Mother. My apologies. I meant to see you as soon as I returned, but... Crap. Mom's gonna flip her lid. We better get out of here before she brings the rat down on us, Michel.
But... Georges, I heard every last word.
What big ears you have.
Care to repeat that?
Repeat what, my beautiful mother? Excuse me. Oh, the voice changing. It's not even just the voices, it's the changing constantly. It's really hitting me hard today.
I swear, young man. So, how did your expedition go, Dieter? Did you run into any trouble?
No, it proved without issue, thank you. Dang it. Everyone returned safely by the grace of God.
That's wonderful to hear. I prayed for you every day, and it seems he heeded me. I want you to know I've quite missed you, even if Georges and Michel robbed me of a chance to tell you first. I'm deeply relieved to have you back in perfect health.
There's no need to be dramatic, Mother. I was never in any danger of not returning. Nonetheless, I too am.
And there's no need for you to be so stiff around your mother.
Sorry. It's good to be home, Mom.
That's more like it. Welcome home, my darling boy.
Eesh, just look at him go. A grown man fawning over his mother like a little boy. Make sure you give him the crap about it later, Michel.
But what?
You really need to learn to whisper more quietly.
I wonder who you inherited those ears from.
Gosh darn it. I swear, you... So, Mother, Michel tells me that you have something important you wish to speak to me about.
Ah, that I do. I'm sure you'd like to rest after your trip, but would you come to my chamber for a bit first?
Certainly.
Oh, what's this? Can I come too? This is my business.
This is my business. What should you be allowed to stick your nose into it?
Because it sounds like fun. And maybe it'll help me get my muse a nice kick in the rump. It's not a private matter, so I don't mind. In fact, maybe it would be better if you were there too, Georges.
Heck yeah! You coming along too, Michel?
What? Why would I? Oh, what am I going to do with you three? What do you think?
Of the painting? It's a fine piece, clearly not made by Georges.
I would have done 10 times better. Who the heck is responsible for this rubbish? Quiet, boy. Does Georges have a disease where he'll die if he isn't running his mouth every waking moment or something? Not the painting itself, the girl in the painting.
She's pretty, I suppose.
Do you like her?
In what sense, Mother? Where are you going with this?
This girl's the daughter of the Castinger estate to the south of us. Or what she will look like in a few years from now.
In a few years? Then she's still a child.
She is, yes, and her family's trying to complete arrangements for her marriage as early as possible.
Her marriage?
The Castingers are a respectable family with lots of land. We have plenty to gain from this arrangement. All you need to do is say,
Mother, as I've told you on several occasions, my body and soul belong to the church. I will neither succeed father nor take a wife.
And you're firm in your decision?
Yes, I'm sorry to disappoint you.
That's very disappointing indeed. I would be so much more comfortable with you taking over the house. Well, what about you, Georges? Do you have any interest in her?
I don't know. I'm really not feeling it.
Now, Georges, you do realize that Dieter not becoming head means that you will be, right? So you can't make a decision like this, which will affect the future of both our houses for generations, because you're not feeling it.
That's easy for you to say, Ma, but I can't change what appeals to me. It'd all be for nothing if we couldn't hit it off and never have any kids.
And tell me, what is there not to like about her? She's a beautiful young lady.
She's pretty, sure, but I'm getting a nasty vibe from that picture. It looks like a real sourpuss. Oh, you have no idea. I want someone more, cheery if I'm gonna have to spend the rest of my life with her.
I wouldn't go as far as him, but there is something about her that doesn't sit right with me. I'm not sure how to put it into words, though. She just looks that way in the painting. I'm certain you'll find her a lovely girl when you meet her.
How can you be so sure? I haven't even seen her yourself. Anyway, I'm not interested, and that's that.
It's such a wonderful offer, too.
Once I'm sworn in as official court artist, I'll be up to my ears in marriage offers. Something even better will come along, I promise.
I'm afraid with your attitude, this may be the last offer we ever see.
Don't worry. We got ourselves a proud knight of the order, the most sought-after artist in the land, and a brilliant, beautiful princess. If that's not a recipe for success, I don't know what is.
Oh, Georges. Is something troubling you, Michel? What? Oh, no, nothing. My mind was wandering, that's all.
See, look what you did, Ma. You upset Michel by being such a worrywart.
Throwing me to the wolves, are you, my boy? Oh, my dear Michel, I'm just being cautious about our future. I'm not so as worried as I might sound. I have the 3 most wonderful children in the world. I couldn't be more blessed. We're strong, and together we're even stronger. I have no doubt in my mind we'll thrive and grow for generations to come. Yeah, we'll all be together forever.
Oh gosh. Now it's Michel. For a brief moment after waking, seeing only darkness, I forgot where I was. As my eyes adjusted to the world faded into view, a faint sense of disappointment swelled up in my breast. That was over a decade ago, a life I no longer had. And in fact, a life I couldn't be certain I ever had. For all I knew, my mind could have fabricated the entire thing. But in short order, a wave of sentimentality receded. A few years earlier, the yearning for bygone days would leave my heart in tatters, but now I had grown largely numb to it. This was the life I knew best. It wasn't a 13-year-old child anymore. Nor was I a girl. Nor was I a member of the Bollinger family. I was a demon most frightful, exiled to a remote mansion. Assento Dele, his dark throne.
Kill the accursed thing.
Those were the first words uttered by the witch upon my discovering the being lying in the heap outside the front door. The witch had haunted me ever since that day I resurrected her at the top of the mansion's observation tower a few years earlier. At first, her constant whispering in my ear had been insufferable, driving me to my wit's end. I did everything I could to deny her existence and push her out of my life. But that too had passed. I had been drained of all will to fight against her, or frankly, feel anything at all. No joy, no anger, no frustration, no sorrow. Perhaps that could be said to mean that she had defeated me, but in retrospect, the witch causing me to encase my heart in stone had consequently kept me from being miserable every time I received a letter from my mother. It made me think getting worked up over some stupid words on scrap of paper was a waste of time and energy. So while I wasn't at the point of gleefully cozying up to her, it was true that her presence had made my life easier.
I can't stand the sight of it. It's utterly dreadful.
The witch wanted me to kill them, but instead I crouched down to get a better look. They seem to be dead already. It appeared someone had died on my doorstep, and because of the way they were clothed, I couldn't make out anything beyond that at a distance.
It's faint, but they're still breathing. Look, you can see their chest moving.
I'm surprised you noticed. I could barely tell from up close. I reached my hand in to roll them over, at which point the witch gave me an exaggerated sigh.
I wouldn't recommend touching them. They're diseased. That's why they look like a human raisin.
That was indeed one way to describe them. What had first come to mind for me, though, was something I'd read in a book about how the cultures would mummify their dead. The person on the ground looked like what I imagined the mummy did, though I was under the impression the mummification was performed in order to preserve bodies of high-ranking individuals, which is to say you weren't likely to find one collapsed on your doorstep. Ignoring Morgana's warning, I put my hand in their arm. It twitched, and they let out a groan.
Just a swift stab through the heart, and they wouldn't have to suffer any longer.
The person didn't seem to have enough strength to sit up, barely enough to hold on to their last vestige of life. Their fingers continued to twitch, but it didn't seem deliberate. The tall grass in which they were laying seemed to swallow them up.
Do it, my dear. Send that poor soul to heaven by whatever means you please. Or perhaps they'll end in hell.
They're not long for this world without my help.
And who's going to have to deal with the rotting corpse in a few weeks if you just leave them there?
Next month's delivery boy, presumably.
Imagine the look on their face when he finds it. Imagine what he'll tell your family when he returns. It would make everyone's lives easier if you just killed them here. Bury them somewhere nearby and let them nourish the earth with their flesh. If there's any nourishment left to be squeezed from them, that is.
Ooh. You know what? Having just spent our entire time, like learning the story of Morgana, which Morgana, she really feels like a completely different person, doesn't she? That's what's so sad, is that she's not. Well, I guess kind of. I mean, she's a curse at this point. So it's like, what is she? I mean, yeah, that's a good question. What is she now?
Or you could try luring some animals here. There wouldn't be a trace of gore to clean up after a couple of wolves at them. And they get a nice meal out of it, so everyone wins.
I can't imagine they'd find much to enjoy of this pile of bones.
How cold. You have no room to
talk. You're clearly enjoying yourself.
My, whatever would make you think that?
There's been nothing to entertain you recently. I certainly haven't been talking much, and nothing of note has happened. I can tell you've been bored.
A few quiet weeks it hardly counts as boredom compared to the years I spent in slumber.
If you say so. Brushing the witch's distractions aside, I put my hand back on the vagrant's arm and flipped them over so I could get a better look. They were much lighter than I'd expected. Their arm was little more than flesh and bone, and the flesh felt like leather. I couldn't guess their age or even gender. They were dressed in unadorned brown robes and a cowl. One thing stood out above their dress, though. Their mask. And when I removed the mask, I was greeted with a torn, wrinkled flesh and eyes so sunken it was disquieting. I wasn't sure what I saw beneath that could even be called a face. Bandages covered the head from nose down, and hid beneath them was even a worse condition. I couldn't tell where their nose ended and their cheeks began, and their lips had curled back into their mouths, turning into a gaping gash. What the heck is this? I thought this was going to be Giselle, but it's not. I had no idea who this is. Even as close as I was, I could barely make out the sound of their breathing. They almost certainly wouldn't survive much longer.
Good heavens.
As I thought the witch might find some compassion in her heart for the dying vagrant.
Get rid of that filthy thing.
I was immediately proven wrong. Her tone of voice was like that of someone who had found a rotten food in her pantry while looking for something to eat.
As I said, they're diseased. You should stay away unless you want to end up like that. Your legs are too frail to hold you up. Your body withered and your eyes sunken, worthless orbs. It's highly infectious.
I largely ignored the witch's whisperings. She likely toying with me, so I couldn't take what she said at face value. She was more than happy to lie or exaggerate for the sake of tormenting me. There was no guarantee that an ailment was contagious at all.
So just hurry and get rid of. Are you listening to me?
I hoisted the vagrant onto my back. A simple task even for me, perhaps the least fit man in the world. I don't know. I think I could contend for that. They were smaller than me, but not child-sized. It was like I was carrying an empty sack of skin. Ugh. This will give you something to stave off your boredom.
I told you, I am not bored. Heavens, I never took you to the kind of raving lunatic who helps strangers.
I wasn't bringing them in out of the goodness of my heart. They simply piqued my curiosity. There was something oddly amusing about the whole twisted situation. A witch, a demon child, and a living mummy. And what better place to gather them all together than a cursed mansion? I also think that some part of me wanted to see and feel death up close. Okay, what is this? What's going on? I can't see a thing. My eyes finally started going, and I was so close to that mansion. But I guess this is the end of the line for me. Wait, no, I still have my vision. It's just dark as hell. Where in the world am I? I'm on a bed? Good morning. Who the heck is that? What's going on? But maybe... Can you not speak?
No, I can talk, but it hurts. I was just a little startled.
By what?
The angel that's come to meet me at the gates.
He doesn't seem to have taken that one well. The man sitting there was a queer specimen, and yeah, I know, pot me kettle. I appeared almost as if he was part of the surrounding darkness, an ethereal being that might vanish when I next blinked. Not human, but merely something taking its form. Though the more I looked at him, the more it seemed like rather than him being a part of the darkness instead radiated from him. Which is probably where the angel bit had come from. This isn't the afterlife. Huh. No, I guess not. If this were heaven, I would feel like it wouldn't feel like death, and there'd be at least a dozen half-naked ladies hanging over me. But I hurt like hell, so this must be alive. Reality's a bee, huh? That said, though, I felt like I'd get on a lot better with a stony-faced angel like him than with what they usually advertised. The stack of bones on the bed had a voice like dry leaves scraping against one another. While carrying them to the room, I noticed several of their joints seemed to bend in ways they shouldn't, so I thought they might be on the other side. But upon closer inspection, that didn't appear to be the case. The way they talk makes them sound young, too. I'm gonna guess man? Early 20s, maybe? I'm gonna try and do a raspy voice now. If you're not an angel, and you must be the witch. I beg your pardon. I'm just kidding. Don't bite my head off. You don't look anything like a witch. He's not far off the mark as he thinks. But he doesn't need to know about my childhood. So hey, would you mind sparing a bit of water? My throat hurts like 12 kinds of hell, and I'm sure you'd appreciate being able to understand me better. There's some right there. Huh? Oh, you already got some for me. Thanks, I can't unbend the darn arm. You mind grabbing that for me? So, his limbs seem to be twisted at angles that don't make sense. And he can't unbend them. He's withered, but that could just be a lack of that could be like basic starvation. I wonder if he has tetanus. Because tetanus makes your muscles tense up and not relax. And like it kind of slowly spreads throughout your body. So like slowly your extremities would, like your hand would curl in, and then your arm would curl in. You wouldn't be able to like open it. And then your limbs would stop like bending properly. They might even like hyperextend if they can, like your legs maybe. And then eventually it like seizes up your muscles in your core, and then you're done. And then the wrappings, I don't know what the wrappings would signify though. Okay, so that's gonna be my running theory. It's tetanus. Did no one ever teach you how to say please? Oh, lighten up, will ya? Show a dying fellow some pity. Maybe he wouldn't have died if I'd left him out there. He's much feistier than I expected. In fact, he's nothing at all like I imagined. When he was still lying half dead on the ground outside my door, there was a mystique about him. As a mummy, he was interesting, which gave him an inherent value. But now that he was awake and talking, he was normal human. Almost excessively so. I reluctantly picked up the goblet and handed it to him, watching as he pulled down the wrapping covering his mouth to drink. It seemed like he wanted to down the whole thing in one go, but judging from the groans I heard, his body wasn't cooperating. I guess the other thing it could be would be rabies, but I think he'd be struggling harder to drink. Like, rabies gives you, like, a phobia of water. Like, it's, like, painful and hard to, like, swallow. Like, you're more likely to throw up than drink. A few years earlier, I might have sympathized with him, but not now. All I felt now was curiosity. What was the sick man doing in front of my mansion? What brings you here? Can't you at least let me drink in peace? Let me tell you, man, I'm in no shape to be multitasking. It takes all my attention just to drink a glass of water. Plus it's darker than hell in here, so I can barely see what I'm doing. You're free to leave if you're not happy here. Once I'm through this water, I have a chance to rest, and maybe a complimentary glass of wine on top of that to raise my spirits. I'll be right out. Rather brazen for a guest. Oh, I'm a guest now, am I? I thought I was just the subject for your observation. Hit the nail on the head? Are you implying that means you shouldn't have free reign here? Sure am. You stop worrying about a lot of things when you're on the verge of death. What's the worst that could happen if I piss you off? You kill me? All that means I lose a few days. Not a real risk acting like I own the place. Not a bad deal if I do say so myself. You certainly are lively and talkative for someone on the verge of death. I did just have a hefty helping of the elixir of life. I sighed to myself. I had taken quite a high-maintenance specimen, it seems. It wasn't going to be much worth observing when he was full of such vitality and his lips never stopped flapping. He was exactly the kind of person I could least stand to be around. I could practically hear the witch saying,
"See, what did I tell you? You should have just listened to me and not wasted your time and energy."
Which only made the whole thing much worse. But curiously, I couldn't feel her presence, even though she was seemingly always around. Maybe she was afraid she might catch on whatever disease this man had? Can spirits even get sick? Never mind her. I have more important things to deal with. Like how to get this man out of my house.
Anyway, you were asking what I was doing here. Well, I was looking for something. And that search? Back up a sec. What is this place anyway? Sure doesn't look like a tiny one-man shack. Not that I can see much in the dark, but these furnishings don't look cheap.
It's a mansion.
Yours?
Half of it, roughly.
So what, you live with someone?
In a sense.
Huh? Now, I don't want to sound rude, but...
Oh, we're well past rude at this point. Go on.
Already making friends. So I'm curious, there wouldn't happen to be any rumors about this place, would there?
Such as?
Like, say, a cursed witch dwells within its halls.
Oh, for the love... That's what he was searching for?
Heck yeah! I'll take that as high as a yes! Excellent. Fan-freaking-tastic. I was headed for the right direction. Let me stay here for a little, please?
Are you out of your mind?
I have a favor to ask the witch. That's the whole reason I came here.
I don't know what you've heard, but the witch isn't one to go around doing people favors. Whatever your wish is, it won't be granted here.
Hey, you never know. There's a first time for everything.
And I doubt this is it. Why is he so fixated on the witch anyway?
The witch of legend is said to be cursed. She was spoken of around these parts only in whispers, and people stayed away from the mansion for fear of provoking her wrath. Her curse had destroyed an entire city, was said. I had no way of knowing whether that much was true or not, but I did know that the witch was real. I couldn't figure out how someone could hear the rumors about the witch and decide, I'm going to ask her for a favor. It's beyond ludicrous. Well, now that's out of the way. Thanks for the hospitality, buddy.
Stop right there. I never said you could stay.
Anything I could do to change that?
Not a thing.
I was hoping I wouldn't have to do this, but you left me no choice. I'm staying with or without your permission.
What the hell makes you think you have the right?
I'll happily comply with whatever the head honcho here decides. But remember, you said the mansion was only half yours. So until there's a unanimous agreement to boot me from everyone with a stake in the property, I'm sticking around.
This little weasel.
I won't just drop a straight up leech, though, don't you worry. If you need my help with anything, chores or whatever, just give me a shout. But to do that, I guess you need to know what to shout, huh? The name's Imion. Pleasure to meet ya. Hey now, give me the silent treatment. Is that how you're gonna pay this? Flat pretending I don't exist?
No. My mind just froze up for a moment. It looks like he's serious about what he's saying, which is his problem, even setting aside the witch situation. The more contact I have with anyone, the greater risk there is that word of my survival finds its way out.
No, what?
That said, he isn't long for this world. That vigor won't last, that much is certain. In fact, it might be smarter to keep an eye on him. Make sure he's dead before he has a chance to tell anyone about me.
Hello? Need help finding your way out of your thoughts, buddy?
Death will find you before the witch does, I'm sure.
Yeesh, that's the first thing that comes out of your mouth. I've braced myself for that outcome already. But follow the logic of that zinger. It sounds like you're giving me your approval for my stay.
Resigning myself to it may be a better way to put it.
It's all same to me. So tell me, what's your name anyway? Unless you want me to stick with calling you an angel, or the witch's right hand, that is.
I am neither of those things, thank you very much.
So, what should I call you?
Michel.
Michel, derived from the name of the Archangel Michael. What was that about you not being an angel then?
I haven't wanted to strangle someone this badly in a long time. Interesting. Really interesting.
And what exactly do you think you're doing?
The witch spoke almost as soon as I stepped into my chambers. I couldn't hear her voice right in my ear as if she was standing right beside me, which was especially jarring as she'd been completely absent during my conversation with Imion. She seemed to know what we talked about, though, so I assumed she had been spectating from a safe distance. What do you mean?
You hardly are type to take in a poor wandering soul on a whim.
You're right. I should have asked you first. This is your house, after all.
Half mine, you mean? I should be thanking you for letting me have half of it. But you are the master of this house. And I...
Go on.
I was never master. So I have no say in what you do, who you choose to let stay here.
But you will heckle me about it?
Of course. I need my entertainment too. So what are you going to do about, whatever his name was?
Imion.
Right, that. I was hoping you would chase that dreadful thing out.
He said he has business with you.
Oh, does he now?
So you weren't listening in on the whole thing?
I'd be more than happy to hover over you every waking moment if that's what you prefer.
I'd rather you didn't.
As you can see, I respect your personal space. It wouldn't hurt to show you a bit of gratitude sometimes. So, what does that man want from me?
Not a clue. All he said is he wanted to ask the witch a favor.
A favor?
Indeed.
What a farce.
I agree. You would never grant a wish of a...
No, not that. That you happily passed on a stranger's request but vehemently refused to make one of your own for me. The offer still stands, my dear. Just say the word and I'll put a curse on your entire family.
I've told you repeatedly I'm not going to ask you to do that.
Obstinate as ever, I see.
Anyway, I never asked you to grant his wish, only conveyed to you that he had one. He'll be dead in short order regardless.
A week or two at most. How tragic for him, being the last remnant of his life on betting the last remnants of his life on a legend of the cursed witch, only to be dealt a pair of heartless jokers. In all likelihood, he just wants me to cure whatever disease he has.
Why would a witch who deals in curses cure diseases anyway? Ironically, that question.
Now, it's not polite to judge someone by their appearance, my dear.
Are you saying you can do it?
Maybe. Maybe not. Regardless, there is but one thing the two of us can do for him, which is watch as the poor wretch's life slips away, alone, in the dark.
On that lovely note. Mion. Christ, this is hell. It shouldn't be this exhausting just to walk down the hall. I'd sure love to get a little more light in here. Might make moving around easier. Nah, this is fine. No light means I don't have to worry about how monstrous I look. This face is like a curse in itself. Okay, so the only places I haven't get to see are the rooms of Michel, this room and Michel's room. And he made it very clear he didn't want me anywhere near his room, so in practice that makes this the last one. Here goes. Damn. A huge stained glass window sat at the back of the chamber. The archangel within the casting of faint light across the room. The light almost burned my eyes, which were still acclimated to the dark. Felt almost like I was in the presence of an actual divine being. So we've got a guy named after an angel, a stained glass window of an archangel. Whoever called this place cursed didn't look very hard, I guess. This is closer to a darn temple, if anything. As I approached the source of the light, the shape of the room came into view. Rows of pews, a pulpit, and a cross. Looked like I was right out of the money. I was in a chapel. Or the remains of one, anyway. The wooden pews had rotted to the point of uselessness, and the floor was peeling all over the place. It was like an abandoned shrine to a saint, hidden away in the dark corners of the mansion. Fascinating. The worst if it's been mended, but you can still see marks on the walls where it looks like it's been struck with a sword or something. Did a battle take place here? There's splotches of black on the floor. Bloodstains, maybe? There's something upon the pulpit, too. Ah, my mask. Figured he threw it out. Huh. So Michel isn't cold and heartless after all. Or maybe he just didn't feel like going outside. Who knows? Either way, I'm happily take it back. He's already seen my face, so it doesn't change much. But I feel better covering it up either way. My disease was highly stigmatized and said to be just as infectious. Not only was it obvious from my appearance, I was also required to carry around a bell to alert others to my presence. I lost that while wandering through the forest, but up until then, whenever I was in a town or city, I had to ring the bell as I walked. And surprise, surprise, it invited all sorts of dirty looks and people scrambling to get away from me. Churches would sometimes offer me aid, but that was a once-in-a-blue-moon occurrence. Effectively, I'd been through nothing but hell up till now. Hadn't done a darn thing, and yet they treated me like a murderer. In fact, I'd almost be a criminal if it didn't get half the crap I did. Just thinking about it killed my mood. He didn't hesitate to touch me, though. Does he not know I have contagious or something? I mean, it makes my life easier, at least. Speaking of the devil. Hey there, Michel. It's been, what, a couple hours? There he is. I think we're going to end here for now. So here's our new friend. Wonder who this is supposed to be. Looking at the appearance. Eyes, hair. I don't know. This might be somebody new. Maybe it's the unknown person. Because I thought there was somebody who helped us in the mansion whom we didn't know. We'll have to see. Anyway, thank you guys so much for joining me today. Yeah, so this is already turning out to be a lot longer than I thought, so we've probably got several more weeks of this before we're going to be done. So we'll have to see how this all plays out. But yeah, we'll have to see how this all works out with me. It's interesting to have Michel back and the witch, like Witch Morgana. It's like, it's a real blast from the past now. And I think I've been getting the voices right from the brothers and everything, which is fun. It's fun to partially, at least partially remember like what voices I used. And I hope I was able to recreate them. Thank you guys so much for joining me today, despite all the hacking, coughing. Like I said, I don't know, the voice changes for this one were a bit different, but I hope you enjoyed yourself. Thank you especially to the patrons who make this content so much more fun to make and just make it more possible by helping to directly fund the creation of this kind of content. They're the biggest reason why I've started trying to go to making 5 videos a week rather than just 3, and trying to up my game, trying to make things more interesting and dynamic for the channel. So thanks. Please send them lots of love in the comments if you can. And just thank you for anything else you do. For watching the video, it means the world to me. Leaving likes and comments, of course, also helps greatly. So anything you offer helps a lot. So thank you. Hope you guys have a great rest of your day, good rest of your week, and that you enjoy the rest of the videos coming out not only this week, but the weeks to come. So until the next video watching me, I'll see you next. I'll see you there.